Willem, will you please step forward?
What the hell is happening?
Welcome back to Tears of a Drag Queen, where we rank anything and everything Drag Race. We'll be going back to our roots of the original channel and going over a top 10 list of the top 10 most shocking eliminations of all time. Now we're coming up on 26 seasons of Drag Race. That's including regular season, that's including All-Stars, and that's including the spin-offs like UK versus the World and Canada's versus the World. And with all those franchises, there has been some pretty surprising eliminations, some real shockers. And if you want, you can join me in the comment section below and we'll discuss eliminations that shocked you the most. Coming in at number 10, we have Honey Mahogany and Vivian Panay. Now this deserves a spot on our list because this is the first time we've ever received a double elimination. So back in season 5 was one of those casts of powerhouses. We have Honey and Vivian both placing in the bottom 2 and, as usual, lip syncs for their lives. Now, it wasn't shocking the fact that they got eliminated because, to be fair, both performances in the challenges were lackluster and both performances in the lip syncs were lackluster. But what was the shocking part was the double elimination. This is the first time we've ever seen a double elimination from RuPaul. And to hear RuPaul say neither of you are continuing in the competition was quite mind-blowing. Coming in at number 9, we have Valentina. This was an elimination that shocked the world in multiple ways. She surely wasn't a powerhouse, but she was definitely improving in the competition in a steady factor to where she was proving herself to be a threat. She had won one maxi challenge and no bottom placements. However, this challenge she kind of fell flat and was placed deservingly in the bottom. And then we have Nina Bonina Brown. Now, Nina had already been tracking a storyline from the producers in the case where she was starting to be a little bit annoying. She was that negative Nancy in the season, and her fellow castmates were starting to get fed up, and as so the audience. So we have this lip sync for your life, and it's about 90% that, Valentina is going to stay in the competition. The only way she's not going to stay is if she bombs the lip sync, and she bombed the lip sync. So not only as we are sitting there as an audience waiting for Valentina to Shantae you stay, she leaves the mask on, and we're like, okay, there's going to be a reveal. She leaves the mask on, the song starts, and she's lip syncing with the mask on, and we're all like, what's going on? So Ru stops the lip sync and asks Valentina to take the mask off. And then we get the infamous line. But I remember watching this live and I was like, Valentina's lip syncing with the mask on. That's automatic disqualification. I thought Ru was gonna let the song go. They do their things. Valentina has the mask on, and then it's just automatic, like, you left mask on, you win. But Ru starts the song over and lets Valentina again have another chance, but she doesn't know the words. So we get the shocking elimination of Valentina going home midway through the season when she was on such a steadily incline to make the top 4. It is what it is. Number 8, we have Jasmine Kennedy combined with Jax. This is season 14 and season 15. I had to include these two on the list. Let's take a second and dismiss the riggery of what happened here. We have two of probably the strongest lip sync competitors that we had seen in a long time. And they're both coming into a big lip sync smackdown. Okay, you have two powerhouses of lip sync talent. There's no way that they could lose, but they both lose. Both of these lip sync assassins lose every single lip sync that they're put against. But I could not leave either of them out on the most shocking eliminations of all time, because when you put in the factor of these lip sync assassins that just slay every single song that they're put against queens that aren't normally known as lip sync assassins, but still somehow come on top. Coming in at number 7, we have Eureka O'Hara in season 9. Now, Eureka was doing pretty well. She wasn't blowing the competition out, but she wasn't in the bottom. So we have Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Pheromone lip syncing against each other in a fair bottom placement. They both did equally as bad. They both kind of deserve to go home. They both have been declined. We get this mediocre lip sync, and then RuPaul says, Eureka, can you come forward? And this is when everybody's mouths drop. Eureka, you have a torn MCL and you cannot continue further in the competition. So Eureka gets cut, Cynthia and Farrah get to stay. It was pretty shocking because how inevitable it was for either Farrah or Cynthia to go home. And then all of a sudden we get, Eureka up to the stage and then gets cut. Coming in at number 6, we have Alyssa Edwards in All Stars 2. Alyssa is one of those fan favorites that everybody cannot get enough of, unless you're Phoebe. But Alyssa dominated the competition just like the rest of the cast. All Stars 2 is amazing in that sense, to where there were no filler queens. There were no queens that just were put there to get sent home. Everybody on that cast was incredible. Unfortunately, production cast for Alaska Talks and was a pretty unfair disadvantage for the rest of the cast. Again, because this is a cast eliminating season, so, if you're not in the clique, you're probably out. And that's exactly the case for Alyssa. In this challenge, we have the makeover challenge where all the queens' family members get to come into the workroom and they do makeovers. Now, Alyssa does mediocre. I'm not sure if it was a bottom placement worthy, but she gets put in the bottom, along with Roxy, who this is now probably her 4th or 5th time in the bottom, and the famous Alaska catastrophe where she gets put in the bottom as well. So Detox wins the challenge and gets faced with eliminating one queen. Now, it's obvious at this point that Roxy should go home. There should be 0 more chances for Roxy to stay. And then we get the shocking elimination. Detox pulls the lipstick out, and it is Alyssa Edwards. Everybody gasps, audience gasps, crew gasps, RuPaul gasps, and that's it. Alyssa goes home. And of course, on top of all of this, it's Alyssa and her sister's mom's anniversary of her death. So not only is it an unfair bottom placement plus getting sent home, but it's like all of the emotions of her reuniting with her sister and then doing it for her mom and then just getting chopped. Number 5, Jimbo, UK versus the world. Talk about a shocking elimination. Now, we've only had a few shocking eliminations to where frontrunners get sent home by other queens. Usually it goes to where it's track record and if you're doing well in the competition, you deserve to stay. Not in this case. Pangina took full opportunity and was like, nah, sorry, you're out. Coming into UK versus the world, Jimbo has now won 2 challenges, episode 1, episode 2, then we get to episode 3. Jimbo falls on the bottom, Pangina wins. They already kind of have this heated argument backstage, but it's still kind of like, would she really send a frontrunner home over an argument? As Jimbo is just rocketing through the competition, winning challenge after challenge, first time in the bottom, she gets sent home by Pangina. And this is probably why Jimbo got casted on All Stars 8. Redemption. Coming in at number 4, we have Willem season 4. Now, this elimination was absolutely wild. Even today, we still are unclear of what really happened, but according to Willem, she already knew she was going to get eliminated this episode and kind of conspired a false narrative on why she was getting eliminated. But anyway, let's jump into the episode of the elimination. We have the duo kind of like comedy set piece where each queen is paired with a partner, and Latrice and Willem both win. Willem wins the challenge and the episode. And then we get the whole epic climax of Fifi O'Hara and Sharon Needles, their huge thing going on. And then they're, paired together. They do bad, and then they have to lip sync against each other. So we get this huge climax going on, and then we're like finally gonna get to see who gets to come out on top between this huge feud. Scratch that. Rue calls up Willem and then eliminates Willem. And before all of this, before the whole lip sync, Willem's backstage throwing up like, what in the world is going on? But all Rue says is, Willem, you are disqualified for breaking the rules. Willem later says, oh, well, she was receiving conjugal visits from her husband. That was later debunked. And again, we still don't really know the full truth of what even happened. And that is the shocking part. Coming in at number 3, we have Pangina Heals UK versus the world. What would this list be without Pangina, the new Manila? While yes, Jimbo did get Manila in episode 3 by Pangina, Pangina was just in the competition 4 episodes longer than Jimbo, basically almost a final 4, and then just gets eliminated. Of course, this is by Blue Hydrangea, which she was also doing very well. She had gotten the top for Snatch Game. Unfortunately, Pangina got in the bottom for Snatch Game. And as time proves, if you are a powerhouse frontrunner and you're placed in the bottom and the queens get to choose who goes home, odds are, man, you better be praying. And Blue smartly eliminates Pangina. If Pangina had stayed in the competition, made it to Final 4, there is no doubt in my mind that she would have won the competition. So Blue wisely eliminates Pangina in one of the most shocking moments in history. Coming in at number 2, and speaking of shocking moments in history, we have Manila in All Stars 4. Now this elimination is what conspired the craziness of nobody is safe ever in All Stars. Previously in All Stars 1 through 3, most of the queens had agreed that it's only fair to judge of what the judges are judging. So for example, if the judges say they did bad that week, then it's only fair to pull a lip sync for that queen because she did bad that week. Naomi Smalls shocked the world. There's a lot of people that applaud her for it, like she's just trying to win the competition. And there's a lot of hatred towards it because she knocked out, in most people's eyes, the true winner of the season. I kind of go both ways just because I'm such a Manila fan. It was so heartbreaking to see her leave. But then again, I understand why Naomi did it, because if I was in Naomi's position and I was against legend Manila Luzon, like, now is your only chance to do it. So she does. And everybody's jaws dropped. Like, I can't even begin to explain the feelings I had when I saw that lip sync of Manila. I mean, she had 3 maxi wins and no bottom placements. This was her first time in the bottom, and this was like episode 8. Like, we were right there for Final 4. And now we will forever have the phrase Manila. Coming in at number 1, the most shocking elimination of all time. BenDeLaCreme, All Stars 3. I just want to cry every time I have to talk about this. BenDeLaCreme is one of my favorite queens of all time. I was so excited to get to see her come back because not only was it kind of rigged against her in season 6, Darian Lake sent her home, which I strongly disagree about, but we get her back in All Stars. And from the moment she stepped into that workroom, it was over. All Stars 3, just like All Stars 4, could have arguably been one of the greatest All-Star season of all time. But due to unfortunate circumstances, it didn't. Challenge win after challenge win after challenge win after challenge win. There's just no words for how well BenDeLaCreme was doing. And if she had just stayed one more episode, which was an acting challenge, if she had just stayed one more episode, she would have won the whole thing. There's no doubt. But we rewind back to, I believe it was episode 6, and she wins the girl group challenge. In my eyes, this was rigged because they criticized Trixie Mattel, and I think Trixie did better in the challenge than BenDeLaCreme did, but I think it was rigged for Ben to win this episode and win the lip sync because BB for some reason took her wig off, which is not what you're supposed to do. Although she did it in season 1, and she's been known to say that she hasn't watched any of the rest of the season, so maybe she just didn't know. So maybe it wasn't rigged. Either way, Ben won the lip sync, and she is faced with a tough decision. She has Kennedy Davenport, Trixie Mattel, Shangela, all in the bottom because if you're not in the top, you were in the bottom that week. So imagine winning week after week. You have to choose your sister's lipstick for them to go home, crush their dreams. That's it. You have to be the one to do that. So understandably, Ben is distraught. And then the returning queens come back and they all confront BenDeLaCreme after sending them home. And she's already going through all this emotional stuff. So I can only imagine what she's going through. She says, I'm done with this. I've made my statement, coming back into the competition, dominating it. I showed the fans what I can do. If it's hurting her mental stability and her relationships with her friends, and that's what she wants to do, then that's what she wants to do. But yeah, she straight up eliminated herself, and that elimination, I may have cried. That is the most shocking elimination in all of herstory. There's nothing that's ever gonna top that, and it still literally lives on to this day. It's insane. So hopefully that never happens again. Whiteout is now banned permanently.